Well, today's the day that we're going to shut down the house and swap out the batteries. Brian's over there chuckling. But you can see what our driveway looks like. And I'm going to step out here and show you from the snow melt and rain. And this is all snow from over a week ago that has not melted. And guess what? It just started snowing again. So it's going to be an interesting day, but it'll be good.
Okay, so anyway, what we've done is we have shut down the house through all the breakers. Prior to that, we powered off all the computers, the network gear, the printers, pretty much anything that had a power off switch that if you drop the power dirty would have possibly caused a problem or some type of recovery procedure that would need to be done. So the house is all totally powered down at this time. Now we're going to go into the breaker box. We're going into the inverter box. We're going to turn off the main breaker to the house, turning off the breakers coming in from the photovoltaic arrays over to the charge controllers. And I'm powering down the charge controllers. And then the last thing is to have the inverters and basically tell them to stop inverting, which is what I'm going to do now. And okay, so I just powered off the top inverter, the master, and now I am powering off the lower inverter. Actually, when I powered off the master, the lower, because we have these synced, it actually shut itself off. So the final bit is we're going to throw the DC disconnects, which are going to disconnect the batteries from the inverters and totally power the inverters off, and knock on wood that everything comes back up when we are done.
So the house is turned off.
Totally turned off. Batteries are all disconnected. Now we can start taking things apart.
Now this will be fun.
Yep.
All right, guys, have fun.
Sure will. Yep, kind of what I was thinking. What we talked about.
Out of your way so you don't step on it.
That'd be good.
Need it right at the moment.
And I can move that refrigerator back and off to the side here. All right, so what we're going to do now is Don's going through and we're breaking loose all of these bus bars that are used to connect the batteries together to get 6 volts per tray and then 24 volts per 4 tray. And what we're doing now is we're disconnecting the long battery bank here, the long low one here, to get that off of the system so we don't short and make sparks and stuff like that, which is not cool.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Here, my brother-in-law is setting up a block and tackle attached to the engine hoist that has been greatly modified that he used for building his log cabin. And he's working on getting it set up so that it can pick this battery up safely.
Okay, that's as heavy as my batteries ever were.
No, it moved it.
Yeah.
You definitely moved it.
Yep. Please be careful.
Do you want me to get down there and pull with you?
He's only got
Well, we're
another
just getting
inch.
a lot of flex now is what it is. That puts us way out as far as weight.
Whoa!
Ooh, careful. Ooh,
All right.
That's what
gosh.
we're supposed to do.
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, well, so now we have to wish it back.
Well, you're gonna hang up on your,
Okay, all right, go up a little more. You guys ready?
Yep.
Or maybe I can't. I might need help.
Here, can you hold? Bill, can you go over there and help him yank? Maybe that'll work.
Yeah. Then we're both gonna pull down.
Ready?
That's better. And let's hold it.
Do you need some gloves, Don?
No, we're just. I got it.
It'll probably swing
I
around.
was gonna say, well, the problem is that, yeah, I guess that will go this way. If you wanna grab and let's come this way. You wanna grab the hoist and actually kind of pull them guys this way. Careful, slow. Come towards me now, because we're gonna be firing out. Yeah, we're floating, we're free.
Ready?
Hey, gentlemen, here, and you might be going for a ride. Are we clear?
Yeah, I'm going for rides.
Okay, what do we want to do? Put this on a dolly, or what's the plan?
I've got one. I've got the.
Where, Brian?
Where's that moving dolly?
Let's hope it holds the weight. What do you think that thing weighs, Don?
More than me.
More than your logs?
My logs never, I don't really call it ever literally flexing everything.
Well, I tell you what, those over there, Don, are going to be mow heavy. Probably twice the weight of these.
We good?
Yeah. Okay,
You all right
Oh,
there,
you're
bud?
on, you're on the engine hoist.
let it go. There you
You
go.
okay? Boy, I've almost got your knee, Bill.
I got two.
I think we're gonna need the lift. I don't think there's any way you and I are going to do that. I don't know if maybe, that's probably 200 pounds here. There are 4 of us, maybe, I don't know.
Careful.
No, they might as well. So we can swing
Yeah.
back?
Go ahead and swing over now.
You got it, Don?
Watch your feet.
Don't you break, rope.
No one gets hurt.
Nope.
Dolly. On the dolly, so
Yep.
this is going on the floor.
Couple of dollies that could have bought if I'd have thought about it.
If I would ask.
Yeah. But we didn't know what we were gonna do.
You okay?
So what are we gonna put it on the floor?
Watch your foot,
that's
Don.
We'll get on the ground and we're, oh,
Buster.
watch your hands.
Tootsie.
He's got something to say. There's strangers out here.
So the engine hoist plan was a good one, but it didn't quite work. We managed to get the top 2 banks of batteries off, but the weight was so much that it was tearing the whole upper part through the metal at the base. So we are stopping that for now. We managed to get 2 off and out of the way. Now we are going to leave these in place for now and have another plan for maybe next week. But we're able to pull these cables out, and we are going to roll the new battery box over and hook it up that way for now so that the house will have power. Okay, moving the battery box over.
So what do you think, Don? What do you
Well,
guys think?
Okay, yeah, I got enough room for 5 pounds. You can push it over there.
Yep.
Oh, you're
Watch
through.
it.
You worked.
You're through.
I didn't hit anything, did I?
Nope.
Nope.
So here Brian is connecting the inverters into the new battery box. This is the negative, and then he will be connecting the positive.
I got a couple of them coming up in front. some big warranty work. They actually flew down there for several weeks to a couple months. And
Beauty.
got done working one day.
Hot ziggity.
House is 48.
And that guy's booting up. That guy's booting up. And so I have 26.5 volts, which is fully charged. And these
I
guys
hear
just
humming.
kept on. Sorry about that. I
You're in
am listening.
you're in a critical point.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's see now. I programmed these prior to doing that, and these things should start.
So they're both off.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in and just get some of the programming set up on those, and then I'll turn them on.
Yeah. Well, we got something done.
Yep.
Wasn't quite as much as we had hoped to have done.
So,
You
Brian-
probably did it right. It's humming like it's supposed to.
So Brian, the inverters are on, everything is hooked up,
Yep. And
and it's already programmed, you said?
I've got a few things, set points I have to put on it off of defaults, specifically in charging, where you set up the charger side of the inverters, and I got all that here. Because one of the things, and if I talk to the folks out in the court, I get all of this from the manufacturer. You buy batteries like this; they're so expensive. You need to get with the manufacturer. You need to work with their tech support group, and actually find out how to make sure you set these up right and set up your chargers, your charge controllers, your inverters, the chargers in your inverters, so that you're not going to fry a very expensive set of batteries after a day or
So they
two.
last longer.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that's what I did with the Simplify folks here. I've been in touch, and also with Northern Arizona Wind and Sun. They've actually been very good and very helpful as well.
Those guys are
So-
dynamite.
So anyway, that's it. I'm going to go power the house on.
Awesome. He's flipping breakers inside the house, and the lights came on.
We couldn't get the other batteries out, so we moved this in place. The cables to the inverters, to the DC combiner box were long enough. We were able to hook up the new batteries. And then within a couple of weeks, we're going to bring a Bobcat in here to lift these out and get them in Bill's truck so he can get them home and use in his wolf preserve
Cool.
rescue. So
But the house is all up and running, and there's no
it's
problems.
all up and running, and about the only thing that I have seen is, much to my chagrin and my horror, Steel Magnolias is playing on the TV.
There you go. It's working.
You silly girl.
All right, so we have finished the day of the work getting the house changed over to the new batteries. We had some hiccups, but we worked through them. So, Brian, why don't you tell us what happened?
Well, one of the things that happened, and it was a concern of ours from the beginning, was removing the old batteries because they're very heavy. They're valve regulated lead acid, Epsilite, 2P, batteries, the ones that we showed you before, that have the 3 2-volt batteries in series in each of the trays. And when we installed these, we actually had a Bobcat. And we used the Bobcat with straps to lift each of the individual trays in place, both for the tall stack and also for the short stack that is here behind me. We knew that if we ran into problems there, that actually going back to the original battery configuration was not going to work. So we looked at what we had on hand, and this was all planned prior to the actual day today. And we knew that we could pull enough of the battery cables out of the inverter box that they would be long enough that if we couldn't get the batteries out, which we could not, then we could roll the battery box in place. And by the way, I'm going to close this up as soon as we're done here, and be able to connect that into the inverter box, and then turn everything on, do the set points, and set up for charging and everything else.
And I will tell you that by Brian and my brother-in-law doing this, this made this possible.
Yeah.
By putting them in this box on casters, having it all pre-wired, pre-set up. This was a matter of under half hour.
Oh yeah.
A very short time, once the decision was made that those batteries were not going to move today.
Yeah.
This was rolled over here, hooked up, and the house was back up and running within about half an hour.
Yeah.
So this was a really good plan.
Yeah, and we had thought this through. I mean, Vickie and I discussed how to do this, because as well as our brother-in-law, one of the things that we wanted to do is make sure we had this all in place, so that it would just be a roll-in, connect up, and then power everything back on, and then do the configuration work in the inverters, for setting the set points for low battery cutoff and the charging profiles and everything. So what the plan is right now, and I tell you, we really thought that the engine hoist was going to work. This was a regular engine hoist that my brother-in-law modified so he could use it to lift logs to build their log home. And those logs were, a couple 100 pounds each. Let me tell you something. The batteries were way heavier than the logs were, and we actually had a safety issue come up with the engine hoist, and we decided to stop all work, because the primary goal was no one got hurt, and there would be no injuries or anything as part of this. So we scrubbed the battery removal and then rolled this in place. And we have a neighbor that has a Bobcat that they're currently out of the country, and they will be back in towards the end of the month, and then we'll take a Saturday, hopefully one that is not raining and snowing like it is right now.
And deep, wet mud in front of the
deep
house.
wet mud. And we'll go ahead and bring the Bobcat in, and then we will go ahead and pull the batteries out. What's really cool about this is that we have enough slack in the battery cable, so we should just be able to spin this around and have it set in front of the inverter box, and then we should be able to lift out the batteries there, and of course the shorter stack back here, which actually weighs a lot more. Each of those trays, I would say, is probably close to 350 pounds. So
Probably, at least.
Yeah. So what this does is that it just goes to show that if you plan ahead of time, think of the different areas where things can fail and where there are problems, and then come up with strategies to address those. And even when things do not go optimally, that you'll be able to still get the work done, and hopefully not have things messed up too much.
So, bottom line is, we had the house down for about 3 hours?
Yeah, about 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. And it's back up and running, and
Yep.
we don't anticipate any problems with that, so it's a good day.
Knock on wood. Yeah. But we will. I'm going to button this up, and we'll go ahead and give you a picture of what everything looks like with the case all put together and buttoned up. We have to keep the cats off of it. The barn cats, they have a nice flat area that's raised, and oh my gosh, they do love to sit on these. So that's pretty much it. But so far, the batteries are actually performing really well, compared to what was in there. By this time of the day, we'd probably already be into the batteries about 10 to 15%. Really, they were getting that bad. And right now we're into these about 2%. So So we will see what happens tomorrow, and whether the generator runs overnight or whether the entire house powers off.
I hope not.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's a pain in the fanny.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, there you go. This was our switchover for the batteries. I will probably do some filming when we get a bobcat in our garage to pull the others out. But that will probably be a few weeks. So for right now, we have new batteries
yeah.
and we're much happier.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing too, if you will be replacing, if you have an off-grid solar system or a power system and you're going to be replacing your batteries, it's always also good to know how you're going to dispose of them, right? Because, I always tell my friends when they talk about, oh, how green we are. Well, when you start looking at the batteries and what went into the manufacturing of those and the solar panels and everything, we're not that green. But when you do get rid of batteries, you really need to dispose of them properly. Unfortunately, there is a gentleman in the valley here that runs a wolf rescue, and he was actually setting up some containers and needed to have a power system to have lights in those. And even though the capacity is really down on these, he's only going to be powering some LED light bulbs and stuff like that. So they should probably give him a couple of 5 years or so of good service, with a very light load, providing he takes care of them. So we actually do have that set up as well. So
And that's
that
a
they will be
blessing.
disposed
So
of.
we don't have to haul these off
Oh yeah,
and dispose of them. So that's
is.
a big blessing to us, and we're
It
very
is.
thankful for it.
yep, definitely.
Yeah. So
All right.
thank you for watching. I hope this gave you some more information and gives you an idea of a little bit what goes into this and how to problem solve, because you know what? You're always going to need that skill, and it's good to have a plan. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. God bless, and we'll talk soon.